together, we've worked on the Solid Edge Back to Basics series. And in general, it's a day in the life of a designer. Right now, we're focused on the basics, parts, sheet metal assembly, drawings, and today is Revision Manager, and in 2 weeks we will do simulation or FEA analysis. So today let's go focus in on the Revision Manager. And again, this is the basic approach to document management. Is there more that this program can do? Yes, there's a bunch more, but we want to keep this simple in these meetings here. Revision Manager has been built in since version 2. I'm going to show you version ST4. If you think of it this way, it's roughly version 24. So it's been in there for a good 22 versions. Rock solid, bulletproof. We understood that there was a need for that. By the second version that was in there, we understood that there was a need for this program. Revision Manager is our way of managing documents. We're going to move, copy, and rename a project, replace some parts and assemblies, rename parts, revise parts and drawings, and then look at how Solid Edge manages those with a Revision Manager assistant. So without waiting too long, let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing I want to do is I want to go look at the two different ways that you can get to Revision Manager. There's actually 3, but we're going to look at 2 ways that you can get to Revision Manager. And one is by going to Solid Edge and wanting to open up a file. Now in this case, I'm going to go to my valve assembly, and the top of the document food chain is the draft. So if you're looking for a part, you might want to look at the draft first and see if that part has been drafted. The same with an assembly. If you're wanting to move an assembly around, let's go see if there's a draft of that made first. If not, then do it any way that you like. But the food chain, the top of the food chain, if you will, is draft, assembly, and then part or sheet metal. So at this point, I'm going to go set my filter for draft, and I'm going to look at my valve top level, and I can right-click on there. Now, most of the times we're used to opening that draft just by double-clicking, but I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to go open with Revision Manager. So that's in this menu right here, and I'll show you another way momentarily, but this is another way to do that, is I can go find the file, set the filter, and I can right-click and say Open with Revision Manager, and Solid Edge will open that Revision Manager. Now, another way to do that is to go through regular Windows Explorer and find your file. Now, in this case, I've got a folder that's full of files, and it might be difficult to find that draft, so I'm going to use Windows. In this case, it's Windows 7. I'm going to use Windows 7 to do this, and I'm just going to right-click, and I'm going to say Sort by Type, and it's going to go out and sort that, and that's fine. But then I'm going to group by type as well. So the group by type is going to put my configurations, my assemblies, my draft, my parts, all in this the hierarchy that I want. So in this case, I want that valve level or valve top level, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to open with Revision Manager. Now, Revision Manager is just a way to manage a database, and that's what an assembly is. Parts that are interrelated together. It's just a database. So as I look at this, I want to go to my tools, and I want to hit my preview just so we can see this, and I'll expand this out a little bit bigger just so we can see it. Now, the top line that I'm looking at here is my draft. And this is its name. Now, we call it valve top level draft, but as far as the database is concerned, the entire name is, the entire path is its name. C, Tech Tuesdays, Back to Basics, Revision Manager, Valve Assembly, Valve Top Level Draft. That's its complete location. That is its name. So any change in its location also changes its name as well. So we're looking at this right here. Underneath of this draft, and we said that was the top of the food chain, underneath of that draft is my assembly. So the assembly is a child, if you will, of this draft. As I expand this, you can see that we have other pieces inside of here. We have sub-assemblies, we have body pieces, we have other nuts, bolts, fasteners in here. Inside of this sub-assembly, I can expand that and I can look at the various pieces that make up that sub-assembly. So there's a sub-assembly, there's a bolt, there's a plate that I can do that, that I can see that. Now, on our very first instance, I'm going to go turn off this preview. On our very first instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click and I'm going to set action to rename. Again, this is its entire name, so any change in that path, any change in that location is actually a renaming function. So I'm going to set action to rename, and then I'm going to right-click on the new name, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to set the path. So this particular bolt is a fastener that we've used, we pulled up, and in this scenario I want to use it again, so I want this in a common library, and we can help you with setting up common libraries and understanding workflows and document workflows, those types of things. But I want this to go into a folder called fastener, and I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to have Solid Edge go ahead and perform that action. Now, as I expand this, it may be a little bit difficult to see, so I'm going to turn on a magnifier just so you can see this. So here's my top level assembly. As I come down here, here is my Tech Tuesday, Back to Basics, all of that work, all of that location. But right up here you'll see that I have a Tech Tuesday, Back to Basics, fastener, Allen screw. So this is in a different folder now than everything else. It's been moved there using Revision Manager. So I can move a part, and then I can also copy parts. Now, in this case, if I click on the top tile up over here in the upper left-hand corner, I will grab everything. And we'll look at this, and we'll expand everything, and I will grab everything. Now, this would be a great way to set action to copy. All of these files are on our server at some point, and I want to set action to copy, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to set the path, and I may set this out something like C, new folder, and I may call it Trade Show. So we want all of these to be copied out to the trade show. So they've been copied. They're standing here on the left-hand side, and then they've been copied over here on the right-hand side to see trade show, all of that. So we can go out and create all of that right like that. Now, I can also move things around and take just certain pieces. For instance, I'll go back to my preview. I want just this, the drawing and the top level right here, the drawing and the top level. I'll hold down Control, pick those two tiles. I want to leave everything the way where it is, but I want to set action to copy. And in this case, I'm going to go set the path, and I may make a new folder, anywhere that I like, and in this case it's going to be job number 567. So I've taken a model, depending on how long it took. It might have took a week, might have took a day to make this assembly, might have took 10 minutes. But my next assembly and its draft is going to take roughly 30 seconds to make. So that part is now made, ready to go on the outside. So as I have this, I now have a new valve in my C job 567 assembly valve. I have a draft and I have an assembly. Now if you'll notice that everything else stayed exactly where it was. Okay, so instead of having instead of having duplicate files setting out everywhere, I have one set of files that are used in multiple places. We don't want, again, we don't want 10 motors used in, singularly in each assembly. What we'd rather have, if they're all the same motor, we'd rather have one motor used in 10 places. It's much, much easier to keep track of than it is to try to keep track of 10 motors in that scenario. So here I have my top level draft, my top level assembly. Now I want to change to step into this, and I'm going to go to my side flange assembly, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to set action to replace. So this is my new project, my new 567 project, and I'm going to switch from the small side to the large side, and we kind of call this working blind, if you will. I know that that's assembly over there. It's good. I've copied it over. I know that this side of this valve is in the proper location, so I can just come over here, right click, and process that. So now when I take something like this, I will come up and I will open it in Editor. Basically, I will open it up in Solid Edge. And as I do this, it's going to tell me that one or more of these views are out of date. So I'll go back, look at my model. My model now has a larger, longer side in there. So I've got a longer side, and now I will simply come back. Let me go over here one more time, save this. There we go. So now simply come back, update the views. And we'll have the views updated. We'll close. Okay, so now I've got that, all of these views right here. Now I need to go back and change and update an assembly, and I'm going to go into this side right here and update that assembly. Okay. So we'll save that, take that part back out. Okay? So using this, we can go and move files around the way, once we have one set of drawings, we can go pass them out to another set, have them changed out and work out for us. So far what we've done is we've moved a file. Now the second thing that we've done, we've copied and we've renamed the project, or we've copied it all into a briefcase, if you will, for the trade show. We've replaced parts. We also can rename parts as well. So again, we think of something like this longer side assembly. We'll come over. And I want you to see this. I hadn't planned on this, But this valve assembly, I had went and moved a screw without checking all where it was used. Okay, this is a live mistake that I've made. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to go replace that screw that's missing. And I'll go out to my C Tech Tuesday. I'll go down to my fastener and I'll pick that and I'll replace that, and Solid Edge will find that and go replace that for me. Now that I've got that, we're going to have a little better view inside of here. As I come back to that assembly. Okay, so we can replace and work with that. Okay, so replace those files. Now, we can see that everything is replaced out, going well, nothing missing. Now, we also can revise parts and drawings. So I want to take this draft over here, and I might want to change this draft. And as I do, I'll take this top one and this top one, the draft and the assembly, and I will set action to copy. And again, I'm going to come over with the magnifier just so you can see this. C, job 567, valve top level. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to increment the name. And as I increment the name, this now becomes a -1 or a -2, or I right click and I say increment again, a -3. So we're keeping the name the same, but I'm simply going out there and changing that. And yes, you can change that to a A, B, C, or D as well. Those are your choices. You also can just swipe it and type your name in there. But the ability to increment that name is very, very powerful in here, that I can just copy that over and use that. Again, I'll come up to my perform actions and I'll go out and perform that action. Okay, so now I have one in that folder. I have a level 3. So if I were to look at this and go out to my job 567, which wasn't there to start with, I have a top level assembly, I have a configuration file, I have a draft, but now I also have a draft, configuration file, and an assembly that is all marked level 3. So this allows me to go out there and to just change something, anything that I want to, substitute anything, write an EC, that type of thing. In general, the revision manager is the only tool that you will want to manage your documents outside of either Team Center or Insight. But straight out of the box, this is what you want. You try not to use Microsoft Windows. Try not to rename things on your own. You want to use this. Now, in doing this, Solid Edge has included a Revision Manager Assistant, and it's right up at the top. So I get to select an action, and in this case, for instance, my boss says I got to revise a file. So I simply go out, I find that file that I want, and in this case, I go look at my draft, and I will take that out, excuse me. Okay, so I can revise a file, and I can take all of the files that I want, or I can take some of the files that I want. So let me go back up and revise. I can also go replace a file. I can go copy a file. So I can go find a file that I want. And I want to copy all the files. Let's just say I want to copy that. Next. And I'll get to send it to a location. Now, what's nice about this is I can select a location, which this is going to look very familiar, or I can also change the drive letter. So I can go out here and I just want to change this. So let's say we're switching servers, if you will. This is out on a C drive. I might want to put it on D or E or G or any other drive that I want. And I might want also to remember all the folders above the selected file. So I might want to go out and remember the hierarchy that I've got. So you can see how I can use the Revision Manager Assistant built into this. Okay? So Solid Edge provides that basic Revision Manager ability inside of here, and it's built in since, again, it's been built in since version 2. So this is how you want to move files, how you want to rename files, replace files. This is your document management system. Everything that we covered today and more is available in the training. It is covered in the basic. If we were having trouble following this, please give us a call. But for everything that we've covered today is available in our training. The replay of this video will be out on the web within 24 hours. So please come out to our CamLogic channel out on YouTube and be able to check this video out. Well, thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Dewiel, Application Engineer. If you need me, give me a call, 248-969-9201, extension 6209, or DaleD@camlogic.com. Thank you very much, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
The